am subbing in the bishop, so I will be doing the roll call. Yeah, Commissioner. Morning, George. Valeria Hernandez. Here. Richard Knight. Here. May. Sorry. Here. John Martin.
He's gonna be revolved.
Okay. Are you in it?
Here.
Here. Oh, she married about 40 seconds.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. Next, we have approval of the agenda. I know the voice soccer team won't be able to make it tonight, and we can move that on to next month's meeting. So I propose that we remove the voice soccer team from the agenda for this month.
Second motion.
All right, right on time.
Look at that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, any opposed? Any abstain? All right, the revised agenda has been approved. Now moving on to the approval of the meeting minutes that I had sent out yesterday. Any questions, comments about the meeting minutes? All right. I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October. Do I have a second?
Yeah, sure.
Any seconds? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, Ms. Thompson abstains. And before we move on any further, I want to welcome Ms. Thompson back.
I have missed you all.
Wasn't the same without you.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. I'm happy to be back. I'm moving slower, but I'm back. So that's good.
Well, track you down if you need something.
Yes, I will.
You're fine. All right, now moving on to public participation. We have a signing sheet over here by TV. If you want to stand up and talk for 2 minutes, please do so. And then if anyone is online,
If you're online, please raise your hand if you'd like to participate in public participation. We have a hand of Celeste Revelich. I will allow you to come off mute. Give me 1 second.
Do you want me to mute when you do that?
Mrs. Revelich, you should be able to unmute yourself at this time.
Okay, are you able?
Amy Hart, can you mute your computer?
Yes.
Okay, and can someone thumbs up if they can hear me? Is anyone able to hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can? Is that working? I can't tell. That's working. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Celeste Romovich. I'm a Spanish teacher at Lane Tech. I live over by Horner Park. So I see Lane Tech signs all over my neighborhood. I consider myself rooted in the community. I'm here tonight. I was asked to come by Lane Tech's sanctuary team. I wanted to introduce myself and also the work of the sanctuary team. I wanted to make sure that our LSC members are fully aware of the work that's been happening over the past couple of months, given the increased presence of federal law enforcement and ICE agents in our city. Starting last year, myself and a few other staff members started talking with Principal Thompson about what our protocol would be community if and when law enforcement descended upon our city. And thanks to her diligence, we had a sort of protocol put in place for our building. This year, obviously, unprecedented presence and actions on behalf of federal officials has occurred in our city. So we, as staff, have been mobilizing, and I wanted to give you a sense of the extent of that mobilization. So we've been patrolling the school and the perimeters of the school, and when we are not available, we have been supported by community members. Community members have been essential in making this work possible so that our students can feel safe. We have off-campus lunch, as you all know, for 4 periods of the day. And students are in our neighborhood and around the building and in the community for several hours, as well as before and after school. So community members have rallied behind us. They've been participating in those ICE Watch activities where they are present in safety vests at different key corners of our building, and they continue to do so.
Ms. Ramovich, that's the 2-minute mark,
Gosh darn it.
but I'm not
I
sure
just
how
had one ask. I had one ask.
Okay, I was going to say I can give you the time when I get ready to do my report because you all are part of my report. But I can give you that time during that time for the ask that you have, or how, you know what, go ahead and ask. Go ahead and ask.
Thank you. The sanctuary team, when I asked what they wanted from the LSC for me to speak about tonight, was an ask that the LSC make a statement to our community, being very explicit about everyone welcome in our community, and making that letter available in several languages and sending that to our community. That was the ask.
Thank you so much. They can't respond to you because it's public participation, but that's something, but you all are a part of my report, and so I can address a few things at that time.
Okay, I will stay on the call for that report. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Fine. I do have an email to read. Okay. All right, I do have an email to read from Walter Bresky. Who's hello, Principal Thompson, Ben, and all LSC members. My name is Walter Bresky, and I am a 1983 Lane Tech alum. Normally, when people take part in the public participation segment, it's to complain, criticize, or voice their displeasure. This email isn't that. I've been following the LSC for some time now, and you're one of the most professional, inclusive, and fluid LSCs, and other LSCs should follow your lead. A couple of meetings ago, a parent voiced a concern over CPS security at football games. That was Jamie. And how poorly they treat Lane's crowd. This has been an ongoing issue for decades, and I believe it needs to be addressed in a unique way. My suggestion is to have 4 to 8 kid ambassadors, present at each home game, depending on the anticipated crowd, to work in the role of peacemakers. The adult ambassadors would be utilized to protect Lane's crowd from the awkward and abusive encounters with CPS security assigned to games. These ambassadors would shadow or be near security to diffuse issues that arise at the games. Another issue is emptying out the fans from private football games, Lane's home games, in a more efficient and less time-consuming way. Sorry, my asthma's kicking in. My suggestion is to have Lane's lower level football team or Lane's varsity soccer team play before the varsity home game. This would allow fans to free flow into the stadium early and to avoid emptying out fans. Lastly, Lane Tech has been known as trailblazers with the men's and women's flag football, soon to be Olympic sports. I suggest Lane start a boys flag football team or club and invite other CPS schools to play their games Monday through Thursday to avoid scheduling conflicts. That's from Mr. Walter Bresky. Are there any other public participation members? No? All right. Thank you very much. Moving on. New business, purchase orders and fundraisers.
I have 2 POs, 21 fundraisers. 4 budget transfers and 4 position requests. You just want everything at once?
Everything at
Okay.
once, yes.
The first PO is a Follett Marketplace for $16,829. It's for interactive math textbooks, these are the classroom sets for the year 1 program. The second one is with FIRST, which stands for Inspiration and Recognition. It's $15,600. This is for the team and event registration for the robotics program, and this is for their competition in March. Then the next fundraisers, there's 21. So Friends of Lane Spirit Store for July through December 31st. Friends of Lane Spirit Store, January 1st through June 30th. Friends of Lane Annual Appeal started September 1st to run through June 30th. Friends of Lane Give Back Nights at Cozy Noodles, which was September 15th through September 19th. Friends of Lane Give Back Night at Bartoli's, September 8th through September 9th. Friends of Lane Local Business Scholarship, September 1st through June 30th. Friends of Lane Give Back Night at Wingstop on October 7th. Friends of Lane Give Back Night at Hi Hi Cafe, November 4th. The Lane Tech Makers Bazaar, which is part of the computer science department. They'll be having their bazaar sales from November 24th through December 19th. Lane Tech Wrestling Boosters will have their annual appeal November 27th through February 20th. Lane Tech Bowling Boosters will be selling spiritware, lawn signs, and also having an annual appeal from November 25th through February 28th. Lane Tech Wrestling Boosters will have concessions and media guide sales from November 29th through January 17th. Aquaponics will have their plant sale from December 8th through December 12th. The Boys Swim Boosters doing a winter pledge drive December 1st through January 15th. Dance Booster Club is having a give back night at Chipotle December 10th. Dance Booster Club would like to have a bake sale just one day in December. If they can get approved for a bake sale, it would take place in December. The Dance Booster Club is having a Holly Jolly Holiday Market December 13th through December 14th. Esports is hosting a tournament at Intentional Sports. It's on North Byboard. They will be collecting tournament fees for December 13th. Baseball Booster Club is having a give fair. It's called Fashion Nights. That will be December 2025. And then their annual appeal will run from December through April 30th. Softball Booster Club is doing a meet and greet on January 22nd. And the Dance Booster Club Give Back Night at Embellished Boutique is February 1st through February 13th.
Thank you. Any questions for Jill?
Yes.
I have a question. Under history of last fundraising activity, it says profit made, it says $0 from Cozy,
Which one?
0 from Pie High, 0 from Wingstop. Is that like, they're just, we made that, yeah, we made no money from them, or is that, or,
The history of last fundraiser is because they didn't do one there before.
oh, so this is the first time? Okay, so we don't really know.
So like, if they submit one, say for like April, then they would have to fill out the history of last fundraiser, say they do one at High in like April, then they would put that under the history of last fundraiser at
The money for the robotics entry fee, where does that come from? That's a big number.
Obviously, from fundraising, it's internal though. Yeah, it's expensive. Some of the vendors, yeah. So this, you all might remember 2 years ago, I asked us to lower those individual class fees to see if we could sustain. So we went from like $100 to $50 to make it more feasible for families. And so some of those fees help to go towards that, because robotics, they can be part of seeing us. It's expensive. Robotics is one of the robotics is expensive. Esports, after it was set up, is not as expensive because you have the equipment, but when it's time to update that equipment, it'll be expensive, but it's well worth it due to the scholarships. The return that we get for the kids is, you can't put a price down.
No, you cannot.
It's expensive.
Any other questions or comments or Bill? All right, I'll make the motion to approve the purchase order, 2 purchase orders and 21 fundraisers. Do I have a second? Jimmy seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right. The fundraisers and appeals are approved. Are approved. All right. Budget transfers.
Okay, the first one is to transfer funds from a miscellaneous contingency line. The amount is $33,178.82. That's just the funding on that line to be transferred to a payroll line to open up the 4 positions that I'll be asking for in the next 2 minutes. But that funding back to us for, it said, assistant flexible fund. So it's from that position being, when Mr. R left, the position being vacant from July till mid-August, and then the staffing for that position was a little cheaper than the prior one. So that's where that money came from. The second budget transfer is from the payroll line to the payroll line needed to open the 4 miscellaneous positions that we'll be asking for. That amount is $14,821.18. So those 2 totals combined equal $48,000, which is the cost of the 4 positions we'll be asking for. And then the third transfer is from the contingency line to the building operations line in the amount of $10,000 to purchase handrails for the bathroom and pre-filters, filters, and a vandalism case for the 2 main water fountains that are used. I know one's located by the but I don't know what the other one is. The pre-filters will be used to go in front of the filters because we're burning through the filters too fast because those are our 2 main water fountains that are used. So the pre-filter is supposed to help make the filters last longer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sediment in some of the older pipes. And that's also causing the filters to go out pretty fast because they're being used often. So the pre-filter will hopefully
Be cheaper than the filter.
yeah, and it's like so much voltage, you know, because the pipes won't be replaced.
So no one's school. Then there's
And
4.
then the last budget transfer is from the contingency line to a technology line with the ILCS department of CPS. It's for the first upgrade from 2G to 4G for the remainder of the school year, and that's $632.50. So it's to upgrade the WAN circuit from 2G to 4G.
Okay.
And then last is the 4 positions. We're requesting to open 4 miscellaneous positions to support staff during the lunch periods, at the doorways upon entry from lunch periods, and help if there's any office work to be done, or they can work at maybe the football games and maybe start later. The 4 miscellaneous positions would be 4 hours a day with maybe some flexibility if like there's a game that's later, maybe they could work later in the day, like 4 to 8 versus like 9 to 1. But they would primarily be used to assist like security in the lunchroom and then assist checking IDs at the door when students are returning from lunch.
And then we have, well, we've done a lot of creative things in testing. Well, PPLC might talk about this a little bit, but we are trying to pilot a testing center within our building so that when kids are absent, they don't have to sit outside of rooms to take tests, but they can actually go to a designated space with an individual during their lunch. It doesn't pull away from the teacher, and the class time gives them space to work. And we believe that that will be helpful. So we imagine that these 4 positions will be flexible enough. They're hourly, it's not benefit time. And we're imagining that people like college interns or, you know, maybe some stay-at-home parents or people who just want to get a couple of hours in a day, if they have the skill set, that maybe they could actually, you know, join our community. We don't have enough bodies to support all the things that we need to get done, and we do not have enough money to open full-time positions. And so that's why that dollar amount is quite reasonable for 4 bodies to come in. And it could be 5 days a week, it could be 3, but we'll have the flexibility within our schedule if we can do it. And it would only be year to year. So there's no guarantee beyond this year. I don't know if Joe said that, but there wouldn't be any guarantee beyond this year. So anyone coming into the fold would know it's just for this year.
And where are these funds coming from?
So this past spring, they charged us money for raises for people. It was about $33,000, and we weren't supposed to be charged to that. So they asked me to ensure that the budget was zeroed out, but that they would give us the funds back in October. So they've given us the funds back. They kept their word, so we come from there. And then we have a position pointer line that we had already designated for a space for like police, for overtime indicators, for extra classes if we needed them, et cetera. So the money would come from those 2 spaces.
Those part-time positions like that, how do you advertise for that? Or how do we get community people or alumni, right? Those would be our ideal people for that.
If they can, but we would advertise it at Miscellaneous. Like, I know very specifically, we're looking for a tech skill set for one person at least. But that would be in addition to opening the doors, helping, you know, to keep things in order. So we just advertise it very specifically. For instance,
But like, where are those jobs posted?
It's
online into layout.
Chicago Public Schools on layout.
Yes. So right now we have lifeguard positions that are posted online. So it's a miscellaneous position, but it's designated as lifeguard.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers and the 4 miscellaneous positions. Do you have a second? Becca seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, it passes. Thank you, Jill. Moving on to the resolutions. We have one today. And since, is there anyone here from the cross-country teams? No, all right, so I'm gonna just hit the highlight from an outstanding season that you just finished this past weekend. Lane Tech boys and girls cross-country teams dominated with CPS city championships, winning all 8 championships, and earning every individual city championships title.
Sorry, I got you, no problem. Just to highlight a few of their feats, all the victories were won by Sammy Asefa, Ainsley Carter, Eve Gray, Keon Lee, Annie Glenn, Kenny Christofich, Gideon Keating, and Sloan Edsminger. They defeated Whitney Young, led by Sammy Asefa. And just a few other highlights. They won all 4 levels for city championships, junior varsity and varsity, girls, boys, which is historical. First time in our history that we know of that JV and varsity for all levels that they won. And then the girls placed 9th in state, the boys placed 10th in state, and they were very good. So last year our boys did rank, but for the boys and the girls as a team, as teams to qualify is a big deal. You'll get a couple of runners who may qualify here and there, maybe one every other year. But last year the boys had a large showing, and this year the boys and the girls, the entire team. And so with that said, their coaches Just to name a few are Laura McKnight, Jeff Jacobs, Aaron Lai. And then the boys coaches are Chris Roof, Tony Jones, Adrian Barrientos, and they have a trainer named Marcus. With that said, most of these people are actually teachers in our building. We really do push coaches from within the building. The kids get to see them, they respond differently, and it takes a lot of work. They actually have the best marketing campaign for cross country out of any sport. They find the freshmen as they're entering, and they provide it as a space for getting to know other friends in the building before school even starts. And more than 100 kids show up for this sport, and it's a no-cut sport, and so everyone has a chance to participate. So we're very proud of their achievements and grateful for the time with the coaches' sacrifice. So,
Thank you so much.
anytime. No problem.
All right, congratulations to the late cut boys and girls cross country team. Moving on next, we have the principal's reports. Mr. Thompson, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. So just for this evening, just going to talk through the state of Lane. And for those of you all who are online, I am going to share a presentation so that you can see it. One second. So this is our state of the school address. And for LSC members, you have a paper copy in front of you. This is also posted on the new CIDT website for the district. And so I'm going to highlight certain aspects of our data, but the deep dive, if you'd like to do it for anyone who's online or in this space, you can check out our school profile page where you can see a multitude of things, not just the data, but also who we are as a school, what it means to have rigorous curriculum, our enrollment, whatever you'd like to know about Lane, you can find it there, or even our instructional plan. So with that said, the purpose of a state of the school address really is to share the district's vision and mission and strategic plan, our school's progress, and then to talk about how you can get involved. They told me that I could do this in any order that I wanted to. And so I decided to start with family and community partnerships. And I say that because you all are actually a part of that group, right? You're our LSC, you are a multitude of stakeholders. But we also partnered with the Alumni Association. We are partnered with, who's represented here tonight, the Friends of Lane. We partner with the Black Alumni Association. We partner with parents. We partner with other community groups. There are some groups that offer scholarships for our students just because. And so there's a lot of time and investment that goes into our community, and we are very proud of that. And if you want to have additional information just about some of the groups, some of the main stakeholder groups, please feel free to log into our school's website because we do have a section that talks about that. And for those of you all who want to get further involved, especially if you're online with some of these groups, I recommend that you also check out our website because the Friends of Lane is always looking for volunteers. And I am sure that if you are an alum, the Alumni Association would love to have you to offer services and or finances to help continue to support. I will say that both of those organizations work really hard to donate to ensure that our classrooms, our school, and our students have what they need. And so I want to thank them publicly for those partnerships. Moving forward to a broader community support that actually really dives into something that's very personal for people within our community, including me and a lot of you. I know that Mrs. Ramovich earlier shared just about the sanctuary community. And given all of the federal activity that has taken place, a lot of it right directly across the street from Lynn Tech at arrival time. It had, people are living right now with a sense of anxiety and fear about just coming to school. We've had a family to contact to say, hey, can we have parents to come and pick our child up because we fear leaving the house to report to school. We have heard of cases like that. In some communities, they're a lot more prominent, but there are cases like that just like that in Lane Tech. And so I do want to publicly acknowledge, I know Ms. Ramovich didn't get a chance to go into all of it, but this group of teachers, they've managed to work really hard to kind of galvanize support. They volunteer their time to go and stand at bus stops on different corners just to be another set of eyes, just to say, hey, I'm a Lane Tech adult. If something's going on, I can see it. But as a student, I want you to know that you have an adult on this bus stop with you. And that's new for our community. We really haven't had to do something like that, but they have, and they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts, but they're also doing it out of a need, what we're experiencing. I want to make it clear, although she asked the LSC to make this statement, every student, every day, every class deserves to be in this space, to learn and to feel safe. They all belong here, period. I don't care about political beliefs. I don't care about any of that. I care about the kids and the adults who are reporting to these spaces. And so we will do whatever we have to do to keep them safe. I appreciate them asking you all to write a statement, and that is something that if you are willing to consider it, I appreciate it. I think that would definitely be a show of support. But that work is continuous. The work that they're doing is continuous. And sometimes it's tiring, but sometimes it puts even students in a position where they have to decide, I'll stay behind at the school because stuff's going on outside. And then we leave the school open and we allow them to stay behind. Or during lunch periods, there are certain teachers who have volunteered their spaces so that kids can come into those spaces and eat lunch in that space. Not because we don't have a lunchroom that's available, but because sometimes kids want to be with others for comfort or with adults who can actually hear them out. And so I appreciate the staff who have provided these spaces for students. I appreciate the staff who are volunteering, but that is part of our mission. We are champions, we champion each other, and making sure that students feel like they can come into this space is very important, because we want them to learn, but you can't learn if you're too scared. And if you fear leaving your home, to show up. Likewise, there's also a lot going on with scarcity in food and availability of resources. People have been furloughed for more than 40 days. I know that the government has reopened, but Lane Tech has a winter essential shop that the Alumni Association works hard to ensure that we have donations. Mrs. Escobar, who works with that, she just sent me 2 pictures from 6 years ago saying this was our humble beginning and now this is where we are. But just as we have that pop-up shop, we also have a food pantry for kids who may not have food or their families. And so they are allowed to go in, get what they need. And the Alumni Association also accepts donations so that they can provide for that pantry. So they take on the essential part of making sure that students have the bare necessities. And so when we talk about community partnerships, when we talk about sacrifices, it takes a whole village. And I want you all to know as an LSC that staff are playing a significant role in this. Our community partners are, but last but not least, our students are too. So a lot of our students are in clubs and activities, and they're doing events around know your rights. How do you feel safe? Where do you need to go? What are the steps you can take? And they're being resources for each other. So that is what being a village is all about, taking care of each other. And that is what they are doing. So that is part of our state of Lane. That's who we are. Any questions about that? All right, let's look at the data. So the district gave us this quote that says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. And It's a great quote, so I left it in there. If you look at this website, there is, and I actually have one of these, if you all want to see, follow along, you can. I only have two of you. I feel bad if you all are, it's great. But please feel free. And so there's a website where CPS keeps providing resources to support families. And then there's also a site for Illinois immigration info. So please feel free to look at that, provide that for other individuals. You have a chance. So Lane Tech mission and vision, last year, remember, we revamped this, and we also took the time to spell out the acronym of champions. So if you could take a look at the screen, I won't read it to you. You are more than capable of doing that. But overall, our vision is to empower students to be confident. We want them to be collaborative, and we want them to impact the world. How do they do that? How do we prepare them for that? And there's our mission profile. And it breaks it down into 3 categories: the personal experience, the academic journey, and the community engagement. It's not just enough to come here and get an education. It's about what are you doing with it to impact those around you. CPS's mission has been the same for quite some time, but when I say quite some time, I mean in 3 years, which is good for us as a district. And so, but the core values are about being student-centered, the whole child, equity, academic excellence, community partnership, and continuous learning. And a lot of our work is rooted in that as a school. These are our priority areas. And the major thing is together we rise. And the goal, this lasts us through 2029, this 5-year vision started this past year. And those are the 4 major philosophical shifts. These 3 pieces have not changed in at least the last 6 years. Being rigorous, joyful, and equitable. And those are the experiences that they want our students to have. How are their experiences rigorous, joyful, and equitable within our district, within our school, within each classroom? The CIDT is the website that I spoke to you all about earlier, but that is where you can find all kinds of Lane Tech metrics, but not just Lane Tech. You can look up any school. Now, it goes into the weeds a little bit, but if you have time, you'll find out so much information just about how we're doing academically, how students feel about coming into the environment, how we connect with our partners, what we're doing as a school to educate the whole child, not just how we pushing them towards their post-secondary endeavors. That's a quick view of the page. So you'll see, if you go to the Lane Tech page, you'll see the school overview, how the district has invested in us. That includes class size, that includes budget, funding, all of that is contained here. And then our actual CID components, and that's the list of what you can see, which is in the blue to the right. It says academic progress, student proficiency, student growth to proficiency, English language learners, etc. You can see it on all of the data. With that said, as a school, we have the continuous improvement work plan. That's our CIWP, and we've talked about those priorities nonstop the last 3 years. They have not changed. I will just glance through those, but they have not changed with the Lane Tech. That's curriculum and instruction, connectedness and well-being, and post-secondary success. And for the curriculum and instruction one, we are trying to close the achievement gap for some of our priority groups. It says 10% each year by using end of semester grading data. And then our second one is about post-secondary, and this is about increasing the number of students who are choosing a match and reach school. This piece is very important. We have a college and career coach. Her name is Erin Dreisbach. As you all know, I always talk about the work that she puts into the college process. Some of you all have had children who graduated from Lane Tech with a college and career coach and without a college and career coach, and there is a difference. And so I appreciate the work that she's done. I also appreciate the work that our counselors are doing, because they still meet with they meet with every grade level, but they do meet with every senior despite us having a college and career coach. There's still a plan that's started during their junior year of high school. And so it takes a village, you know, within that post-secondary area, which is headed up by Allison Hildebrand, one of the assistant principals. And then last but not least is our connectedness and well-being. This is the heart of what we do. This is athletics. This is extracurricular. This is also the equity work where we're trying to make sure that students are seeing themselves within the curriculum that they're learning. So some of our data. When I started at the beginning of the summer, well, in July, I told you all that I was so incredibly proud of our data. Our AP exam students with a score of 3 or higher jumped to 92%. That was a 5% increase in one school year with more students taking the exam. And so I give credit to students who worked very hard and to the staff who work on their instruction. Here's our summary, and you can see the increase over time of how many students are taking it, notably with about 100 more students, but with almost 800 more exams than last year. That's a big jump. And so we are proud of their work.
So this goes back 5 years.
This goes back 5 years.
This was your first year?
It's what, 5 years ago.
So 5 years ago was at 70.37%.
That's
That's the
right.
total AP students with scores of 3 or more.
That's right.
And now you're saying we're at 92.14%. That's outstanding.
That is correct. I was going to talk about me starting as principal then, but since you're going to do that, no, it's been a collective effort. There's a lot of time, energy, work, outreach that's put into ensuring that kids have access to classes. So when you're talking about equity, equity is about access to. How do you provide opportunities for kids? If you're not providing opportunities for all kids, then there's a problem. And so that's our goal. This graph right here shows that the gap between ethnic groups has decreased over time. So all groups have risen in the last 5 years, but the gap between the highest scoring group and the lowest scoring group, that has decreased. And I'm very proud of that work. I think that it comes with providing students with more rigorous tasks in the classroom, but it also comes with students having confidence in what they're doing. Our entire school has made a shift, but I'm grateful.
Yeah, thanks for your leadership and for the administration.
They work very hard, which is part of our last part of this presentation. Something that's not captured in the AP scores though, which most departments are represented within those AP scores, but sometimes our non-core departments kind of get left off because people think, oh, that's just music or just gym but every subject area plays a role in this success. Kids need a moment to take a gym class that's going to allow them to release the endorphins, to free their minds and sweat it out so that they can go into that next class, whether or not that's art or music or English or social science, to actually accomplish some of the things that they do. So I want everyone to know that this is a whole school effort when we think about academics and not just a few core departments, okay? Our 9th grade on track last year, we ended at 97% of our freshmen being on track. Our ELA proficiency over time, 92% of our students for ACT were proficient in English at a minimum, 92%. And then for math, 87% of those students were proficient or above proficient. The proficient was the lowest, was the bottom of that ratio. Next, our 4-year graduation rate, that increased by 2 percentage points. So we had a 98% 4-year graduation rate. The person who will not talk about themselves in this meeting is Mrs. Velez, but she works diligently with the counselors, with families to make sure that when students are slipping or they miss something, that she gets them into her office, that she gets parents on the phone, and she is relentless. So she needs to get her kudos. For all of that work. And it's hard sometimes because people don't want to hear that their children aren't doing well. But because of those pushes, because of those calls, it makes it easier for us to step in and have the conversation and say, hey, we know that you've received resources. What are you doing with those? We think you can still pass. Let's push to pass. And that's how the conversation goes. It doesn't start with, you're not doing well, Lane's not the place for you. That's not how it goes. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that work. So thank you.
You know, here's some perspective. I started here in 1989 with about 1,250 freshmen in class. The graduating class in 1992 was under 700. Believe it or not. So that was a huge drop off. And to see us at 90% is really amazing.
Wow. That's 500 kids who left.
Yes.
My goodness. Okay. Thank you for sharing that fact. Early college and career credentials. Of course, we're at 93% at this point, which is ahead of our network, but our network is also improving in their number. We do have a great deal of students who take some kind of course that qualifies for early college credit. College enrollment, we're at 95% for our students, which is where we were the year before. And those are the major pieces. Do you all have questions?
A lot of great information here.
It is, and there is more information on the CIDT website. So feel free to dive in further to gather more information about our school. I am very proud of our school. Of course, as an educator, I will always say there's room for improvement. And I will never shy away from that kind of feedback. I am very proud of our school though, so sometimes I have to grit my teeth and bear it when I'm hearing it, especially if it's something that's not as favorable, but then the process starts of, okay, how do we shift? And so that's what I'm hoping, that we continue to model that for our children so that they can take that with them in life. So
Thank you, teachers and staff, for all that you do. Doesn't go unnoticed.
it's not. All right.
Any other questions or comments for Principal Townsend? All right. Then on that, the teachers, the PPLC committee.
We had our third meeting today, so we've had a busy afternoon. And there were 3 items on our agenda. We talked about PD for teachers, and we have a committee that is going to follow up on one of the best PDs we ever had in August, which was having college professors. Mario actually co-led that committee, come and talk to Lane Tech teachers. And the only complaint was that the session was too short. So it was, teachers were raving about it. I know personally, I talk to my own students about this session at least once a week. So, yeah, it was really one of the best movies, and we're trying to figure out how we can take the momentum from that and extend that for next year. And there's a bunch of ideas that we have that I'll report back. We're going to report back next month. Then we have a regular committee that gets feedback from staff, and we'll report more on that later. And then earlier tonight, you heard Jill talk about the staffing positions, and we were so happy to hear that, because the other item is having a testing center. And that it's something that almost lots of high schools have. And here at Lane, it's been hard to do because space and personnel. And if you walk through the halls during lunch periods, you will inevitably see students gathered outside different departments trying to do makeup tests. And it's not good for teachers, it's not good for students. So we're working on piloting the program as soon as we can find a person that will
man a testing center during lunch periods in the library. And we're gonna pilot it. No surprise with the social science department. So, so we're looking forward to that and hoping that shortly after the pilot, then you can reach out to the rest of the departments at school and hopefully have something that will be a permanent testing center. I hope it's so there you go. That wraps up our meeting.
Thank you. It's very positive and encouraging news.
Yep.
Next up is the Alumni Association. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, well, you gave half my presentation. Let me just do a little deeper dive. So our, quiz? Yeah, no, I didn't do a quiz because I thought you were gonna have, I could just make one up. I'm sure, I know, I'm seeing you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about SNAP and the volatility of the program and how it has turned. You should see our office right now. It's crazy town. I've never seen so much macaroni and cheese in one place in my life. So all jokes aside, this has become a very critical issue. Typically, we have been stocking the student food pantry very quietly at a rate of about 500 portions of food a year. This is already stale, this report. By next Wednesday, we will have exceeded 12,000 portions just for this night.
Wow.
And who knows what's going to happen in semester 2. We know that SNAP is going to be reinstated. We don't know what that means. Families are very concerned. And so we keep asking and alumni keep giving, and it's fantastic. The other day I had an alum from the class of 1948. He is 93 years old. He showed up in our office with his luxury vehicle full of shopping bags full of food. It's amazing. He also underwrites a scholarship. So anyway, they are coalescing. Alumni are behind this. We will make our last delivery right before, giving the Culture and Climate team enough time to pack orders for families for students that can go back to their families for Thanksgiving break. I showed a picture of 3 fellows who I call our food pantry ninjas. They very quietly slip into the building, in and out, delivering food without anybody knowing. They have it down to a science. And the fellow in the middle is a 75 grad. He has outfitted his minivan so that he can fit 6 Amazon drag bags full of food at one time. So people are really thinking about this. So yes, the Winter Essentials pop-up boutique is coming, I think, in the first week of December. We were a little concerned that the need for additional food would cannibalize our drive for winter wear. But again, alumni, before I left the house tonight, a 63 grad had purchased 9 coats for female students. So they are really stepping up. We are just under 500 items of winter wear, all brand new. And we still have 2 weeks to go. We always do this drive in November. So we've got 2 weeks to go. We have one more in-person drop off on the 25th. Yeah.
Sorry, I've had a little girl ask me they want to drop off food. They do that to the alumni. Do you really like the Amazon best?
Well, it's different for everybody. There are a lot of people who prefer, we put the Amazon site up so people can see what has been requested by the alternate climate movement. People can purchase it wherever they prefer. I think it's better really to drop it off at our office. We check it in, we sort it, and then we have it. We have a system of bringing it over as Ms. Escobar requires it. She doesn't need to be tripping over me, but she doesn't have the roof, So we have a nice, inexpensive storage space in the basement of our office that we use. So I would suggest people bring it to us.
And what's the address of the alumni?
3525 West Peterson, first floor. Any other questions about those 2 things? Awesome. A little fun thing. I should have made this my quiz. So I missed last month because of car issues, but this is a little stale, but it was too fun to not include in this report. So we will do this every year now. Did I mention this before? I don't know. If I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But when this school opened, it was September 17th, 1934. And 9,000 people walked from Wrigley Field to the school to dedicate it and open it. So we are establishing an annual trip to tour Wrigley Field, like a reverse commute. And we had our first tour this past, did I say November?
You said September.
Okay, that's right. So we did this September. The Executive Vice President of Community Affairs, Government Affairs, Legal Affairs is Michael Lufrano from the class of '83. He has very quietly over the years been an incredible catalyst for support of the entire city. He heads up Cubs Charities to the tune of $52 million. He helped create Careywood Field. He is a perennial donor through the Cubs of Friends of Lane and to the school. And he brought the World Series trophy to Lane for the best pep rally I've ever seen. So he came out to greet the group. We had a group of 50 alumni, but he didn't know that we were going to induct him into the Hall of Fame. So we turned the tables on him. It was very sweet. Dr. Hanley was there. The baseball coach was there. So you can see him, that's in the middle holding his trophy in the picture. And then we also inducted Phil Cameretta, who was, well, he didn't finish going to Lane. He never made it from the old building to this building because he had to go to work to support his family. So the coach, Percy Moore, got him tryouts at Wrigley Field. He made the team. He was with the Cubs for 19 years. Was a superstar in the mid-40s. So we got to meet them, both of them, before we went on a happy tour. But I thought it's important for you to know that Mr. Lufrano is an incredible supporter of everything that we do here. And then last but not least, oh, actually two other things. So faculty innovation grant program, you know, we always do that in the fall. We completed evaluations and announced awards in October to the tune of $36,000 and change. And you can see we're really pleased this year how equitably the funds have been distributed. So no one department is getting rich off the back of another, right? And it's also is a great testimonial to teachers and their quality of grant writing. So you can see how that lays out per department. And then I've listed most of what the grants are, so you can see what these dollars go to support. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. And then lastly, I didn't even think to put it in the report, just that, you know, we have this Go Lane Go fund that funds student transportation. So we had our first big underwriting, and that was the tour for students to go visit Augustana, Drake, Iowa, and Iowa State, October 7th and 8th. And I hear they had a great time. The pictures look great. So anyway, that's our whole schmear. Any questions?
Thank you, Joe. Here's a little anecdote and a sort of a full circle moment. My son Ryan, because of 2021, they did our Cubs Charities RBN baseball team. And
He's making money.
yes, he is. And you're actually working for the Cubs now.
I know.
A volunteer coach for the Cubs Charities.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Nice full circle moment. I want to get that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have the Friends of Lane. Jody, you're up.
Hey everyone, I'm reporting for Friends of Lane tonight. To answer your question about Cozy and Thai High, like the zero, it is because it was the first time, but also we're having these like one-time relationships with different restaurants who support the gala. So it's a give back to us, but also kind of give back to them too, with the publicity and encouraging people to go to those restaurants to keep those relationships going. Okay, our updates from Friends of Lane. The annual appeal, we just launched it with a Zoom with Principal Thompson. It was a new effort this year, and the fundraising goal is $300,000, and we are on our way. Strong start. We have so far raised $109,000. And the appeal will remain open until the end of January. Teacher grants, the deadline was in late October, and we had double the number of requests from last year, 88 requests from teachers or coaches. And currently we're in the process of approving them and getting the communications out. The teachers and coaches will look at the grants. The grants are up to $750. The school store, it's busy, performing well. The business sponsorship program. So we revamped that a bit this year. I encourage you to look at the Friends of Lane website and look at the different levels and the different benefits that go with the sponsorships. We have 2 new platinum sponsors, which is our highest level at $10,000, and Burrito Beach and Magnolia Pediatric Dentistry are our new platinum sponsors. Generally, we're having an uptick in parent and community engagement in meetings and fundraising efforts and volunteers. And we're always seeking more volunteers. So we have a lot of upcoming events looking for volunteers. As for those events, the ones that just passed, 4 of them, we had the annual appeal and budget meeting that I just mentioned. We had a very successful college planning community meeting. It was very, very well attended. I went to it. I thought it was great. We had the principal and assistant principal appreciation luncheon and the open house on November 1st.
Yeah, how was the turnout at the historic open house?
I think it was really packed.
Because what times, do you know how many students or parents?
There were more than 6,000 people who showed up.
Really?
That's not typical.
Yeah, we actually expected fewer people, given a lot that's been happening. That didn't happen. At all.
The store is really busy on the football nights.
Yes.
It's been good sales on those nights. Upcoming events, we have the course planning meeting in December, staff appreciation holiday luncheon also in December. We're having a gala volunteer happy hour in January to recruit volunteers to help out at the gala, which is May 1st. And we have a college committee book club in February. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the students.
Okay, so for the alphas and omegas, we have that omegas are currently making merch, and we got something special for the seniors, which is nice. And we're also doing approvals for the student projects for the Omega Humanities Fest, which is going to be later in the year, so it'll be second semester. And then 3 Alpha program alumni families will be contacted to request donations and continued support for our top students' projects. Alpha has started working on the December 4th Science Fair, and they also went on a tour to Northwestern University.
Yeah, for the board for July, the Halloween happened safely. The soccer team finished with an incredible season, and most of the students are recognizing that. Cross country is also phenomenal at state, and 35 of the seniors have been named for posse finalists, and 19 have accepted their match school, and 21 are Westbridge finalists, so that's great. The open house was held, and Lane hosted over 6,000 guests, and we also hosted a blood drive with 47 students successfully donating, and it was like really weird because all my friends like had lunch. It's like 6 of us, like all 5 of them like donated, and I was just like, I almost scared needles, so I can't get it. It was impressive. So there's also no tardy November, which has 1,587 students signed up, and 61% of seniors have completed the financial aid graduation requirements. So,
For the student council, student hosted October Fest, which was an amazing success. Students ineligible for prom or ILCS have been notified and are given attendance certificates presented, like November, which a lot of people are very grateful for. Thank you. Lakeside Athletics has met with Lakeside like sports sponsors and student council to bring some to senior football games. And then seniors cast sponsors have held a meeting with senior student council to plan holiday events for further in the year upcoming events. And then also with the junior class, they did a kind of like a trade and clothing time where it's like a birthday thing. I heard that turn out that has been recorded, so I have to report.
All right, thank you so much. Anybody here from BAC? No, all right, any old business?
Old business, I want to publicly thank Dr. Hanley for sitting in this chair for 2 months unexpectedly. And also thank the administrative team who really just held it down and were also very supportive of me while I was out of the building. They talked to me enough during that time that it felt like I was still working in the building, just not present in the space. And so they made sure I was okay first. And then they said, okay, now can you do this? So they kept me on my toes, but I do want to say thank you to them because that's a lot to take on. And although there are 7 of us total, having one person out, it makes a difference in the space, especially when the ratio for administrators used to be 500 to 1. That's what it used to be in our district. Lane never had that many, but that's what it used to be. And when you consider the size of our student body, that would mean you need 9 administrators to handle that minimum. And then they didn't have me inside the building. And so thank you. Thank you, AP Hart, you're here. So you get all the kudos that you want. And thank you all for carrying on, just like I know you do. But thank you.
Along those lines, I want to say again, thank you. I mean, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you back in the seat and
thank you
leading the school.
I appreciate it.
Any announcements? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:08 p.m. Do I have a second? All right. Robin, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Adjourned. Have a great week.